Shazam. I'll give you some Shazam. The hell. Oh, DJ Treylow podcast coming at y'all, man. This is DJ Treylow. Been DJing since I was like 29 years old. For a little intro, got into DJing. Did a lot of slow down music, chopped up, a little bit of scratching, mixing. Then got into beat producing, writing books. So, I did a couple movies too. They were sorry movies. If you want to check one out, go to D Myers 45 and look at my playlist, man. I got a playlist called it's a Homeboys film or Homeboys movie on my playlist. D Myers 45 on YouTube. Then go to my playlist, put in Homeboys film if you're next to the computer. And that was a little film I did back in 2001, I think. It was a long time ago, man. It was horrible, man. It was like our first film. And I'll tell you what, man. Don't ever hire your friends to do movies with. Like the people we hired outside, we had like this little website called austinactors.net. I don't even think it's up no more. But you could post like little auditions for like independent movie projects you're doing. Like every time you tell people you did an independent film, they say they ask if it's porn. I don't know why. It wasn't porn. It's supposed to be like a comedy, but it wouldn't even come out as a comedy. It just came out horrible. But I don't know why they say independent porn. They say, oh shit, hold on, I forgot to do my intro beat and I'm over here talking about my old projects. This one, I think, let me see here if I can find it. I already did that one. Did that one, I think. No, I did that one last week. Hold on. Turn it up a little. That's one I'm pretty sure you hadn't heard yet. Yeah, it's just something I put together I think last week. Enough of that. Can't be giving you all my beats, man. You know, I used to upload a lot of beats to YouTube and then try to stamp DJ Treylow all over my beats. But like I said, man, I'm getting kind of skeptical about putting any of my work out, man. You know, because like I did 2 books and I started seeing like spin-offs that were kind of like my story, but they weren't exactly the same. Came out like 10 years ago. Like if you check out my first book, The Pavilion Vortex, I wrote that in 2001, but I didn't really publish it till around 2009. And the concept in there I had was about a time travel device that it was like a cube or whatever, and if you got close to it, it would keep you at a certain time. Like say you set it off and you 28 years old. So as long as you stay close to it, you stay 28. But then it had like a 10-mile radius around the cube. And if you went out the radius, you would age to a certain age. Now, that's original concept, okay? And if you want to sit up there and bite my shit, like everybody's been biting my shit, you know what I'm saying, trying to copy my ideas, and I'm not getting paid for it, but it's all good. That's, you can, it's already been documented. It's already been, self-published. So I can go sue your ass. Okay. But here's the thing. People will bite your shit and they'll spin it, a little bit off to where, it sounds like it's their shit. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll take like little concepts out. Now, granted, like I can tell you this, I don't think it was really they bite my shit. But I'm saying, like, I came out with that in 2001 when I wrote the story. Somewhere in 2010 or 2011, The Legend of Zelda came out with a game. I think it's called not Twilight Princess, the one after it. Not Breath of the Wild, not the new one. Shit, I can't even think of it now. Came out on the Switch. I mean, on the damn, I can't even think of the title now. The one where you a Skyward Sword, and there was a level in there where you pick up a golden cube. No, a golden. No, it wasn't a cube like mine. It wasn't a cube. It was a circle. But you pick up the circle, and as you move, the circle puts you back in time at a certain time. When and it has a perimeter around this circle that you carry with you. Now, I'm sure other people come up with concepts about that before me. But I know I came up with that concept way back in 2001, but they switched it around. My concept was like when you jump start a cube, the time travel cube, you can't move it. It stays in one place. And you can move around in this area, but as you move away from it, you progress to modern time till you hit a barrier. Their concept was you can pick up this ball, and as soon as you pick it up, you get transferred back into a certain time. But the perimeter of the ball that you carry around, the perimeter is the same concept as my perimeter time travel device. Granted, that game was made 12 years after I wrote the story. So, I kind of looked at that. I kind of got like, a bad feeling inside. Like, man, come on now. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know the makers of Zelda probably, dreamed up the concept themselves and didn't read my story, but it kind of irks you a little bit, man. When you got creativity, like, and you come up with a concept that I haven't seen anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Original concept, and then all of a sudden you see somebody else take it. I also had another story called The Basement Eyes, and it was about painted eyes on a wall. And the eyes would drive you crazy and shit. You know what I'm saying? And you could, shit like that. If you want to hear the whole audio version, it's on YouTube. And you can look at the date on YouTube when I publish the audio version. And it's still going to be a part of a short story collection that I'm putting out probably within this next year. I'm trying to I listened to this one author and he said, man, try to write one book a year. So that's my goal now, man, to sit up there and write one book a year. But, I listened to another author that said something about the same kind of concept I do. You can't write at home, man. You can't work at home. I mean, I've heard of people working at home and writing at home, but it kind of ruins the whole environment at home. Because when you get home, you want to relax. And what comes with relaxation is a certain vibe you get. So that's why I understand why they separate work from home. You know what I'm saying? You go someplace else to work. You don't do it at home. Some people say they can work out the house all the time, but it ruins the whole concept of relaxation because then you associate your house with working. You know what I'm saying? So when I get to writing and shit, I like to go somewhere to write books. I don't care where it's at. I'll go down to a park, take my little laptop, or a lot of people like going to coffee shop for 3 or 4 hours. I don't drink coffee, so and write books down there. So I'm trying to finish up this little short story collection because I got a whole bunch of short stories and I haven't finished that. And I've already written one novel and one short story, just one short story book, which was a Pavilion Vortex. The second one was a full novel, The Rectangulars. And the difference, if you want to know what a novel is versus a short story, a novel has over 45,000 words in it. That's it. So you have to get up to 45,000 to be considered a novel. Look it up. I mean, if you think I'm bullshitting, look it up. Google that shit. You know what I'm saying? So I got to 45,000 words, but it's a short novel. A lot of novels are 100,000, 130,000 words, 400 pages. Rectangular is only 160 pages. Cause I was kind of getting burned out toward the end. I mean, it was my first shot at a novel, and I wasn't fully prepared to jump full into full writing shit. And that took a while too, to the rectangular, because I started that in like 2012. And I didn't finish till like 2017. So it was like 5 years of bullshitting around. You know what I'm saying? So what I was saying, as far as back, I digress and everything. Back to copy and concepts. You know, there's a new, I think there's a film out on Netflix. I don't know what the name of it is called. But the concept in the movie is about paintings that they get, and paintings that kind of look at you a certain way and drive you crazy. Okay, hello, my eyes concept. I mean, but I don't really get mad at that whole basement eye concept versus that story, because that's not really an original story. I'm sure people have told stories about way back in time about paintings or eyes or anything that drive you nuts. So that's not original horror story. Now the Pavilion Vortex with the time shifting device, that's kind of original. I don't know too many people that came up with a time travel device that creates a perimeter around them. You know, time travel device to go back and forth in time, but not like a perimeter. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of like irked my nerves, but I'm sure I'm tripping, and I'm sure there's some concepts out there that are time travel, you know, perimeter devices or whatever, before I wrote that book. Okay, when I started this podcast, I was going off on films, talking about Homeboys, and I just went from Homeboys to Playing the Beat to talking about my novels. So if y'all are following around, and you know, y'all probably ain't following me real smooth, because I'm just jumping from shit to shit, and you're like, okay, let's turn this damn podcast off. He don't know what the fuck he's talking about. I mean, he don't know what he's talking about. Okay, now back to my Homeboys film. What I was saying with Homeboys, see, I know what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about a whole bunch of subjects. But what I was saying with Homeboys, don't ever hire your own friends to do a film. If you're going to do a film, and, you know, like I said, people were saying it was porn and it was like an independent film. It wasn't porn. But Homeboys, like, you know, and we had auditions. We had people come through austinactors.net. They come through with their headshot, resume, stuff like that. And, you know, I would show them the equipment I was using. I was using a big camera back then. And, you know, back then it wasn't digital. So it was like 2000, 2001, 2002. So we were still using those little mini tapes that you know, in DVDs. And we had a full setup down there at Austin Access Television as far as editing. And, you know, you take a class when you want to rent the equipment out or put any kind of show together on Austin Access back then. And they kind of tell you how to edit, you know, clip tapes and put it together in a film. So me and my buddy Waylon Burke, and my other buddy I grew up with, Josh Stutzman. Now, Josh was actually pretty good, because we had worked on a film earlier before we did Homeboys called Race Wars, and it was just some bullshit ass film that some UT student made. And it was kind of like he was trying to do the higher learning shit, like white boys versus black people, and, you know, race shit and all. It was just dumb. I don't even know if the film's on the market, so don't even look that shit up. If you can't find it, let me know, because I need a copy of it. It's a memory, a distant memory. But anyways, when Josh Stutzman came on to do Homeboys, he was, you know, since he did the previous film, he was actually like, I wrote the script. He was actually memorizing his lines, doing his lines, and, you know, practicing, rehearsing, you know, stuff like that. And, everybody else that we hired that were total strangers, they were coming through, you know, and you know, I mean, we had to adjust our schedule to their schedules. You know, they got stuff going on, and we weren't paying nobody. You know, be honest, like that was like cheap. So the way we would hire them, like we would say, okay, you know, when we get done with the film, we're going to give you a DVD version of it. You can put it in your role for your auditions and stuff. You know what I'm saying? You know, get some movie clips in and everything like that, you know. And they said, okay, cool. You know, most people were down, even though it wasn't paid, you know, just to do it. So the majority of the people that showed up to do the film, if you watch the film, like I said, you know, click on Homeboys on my playlist on D Myers 45 YouTube, and you can watch the film. If you watch the film, most of the people that I didn't know personally, like you can tell that they actually rehearsed and did their lines and stuff like that. Josh, he was okay. His name's Terry in the film. He drives a pickup truck. He was like half and half. Like he would do his lines, but then sometimes he would just make up shit. Waylon was just totally off the rails, man. I don't think he even said like one full line in the film. No, I take that back. Every now and then he would look at the script and say a line, but he was just ad-libbing like crazy. And ad-libbing is cool if you know how to pause. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You can ad-lib, but see, when you're acting, it's not like real life. So when you're talking to a person, you can't talk over a person. See what I'm saying? So in a movie, if you're ad-libbing and you're talking and then the other person's ad-libbing and he's talking, it's like y'all talking at the same time and it sounds like some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Movies is very formatic to where you say a line, I say a line and respond, you say a line back. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, go on and on. So that was a problem with Homeboys. And then we had a couple of fights on the set too. Go in your room. My son over here being nosy, trying to see who I'm talking to on this podcast. I'm not talking to nobody. You think I'm talking on the phone or something. But we had a couple of not physical fights, but like almost to the point that got physical. Josh Stutzman and Waylon Burt. Now Waylon Burt, he has some issues, man. Like this dude right here has got some serious issues when it comes to like technology and like tinkering. I would say tinkering, and he's got other hang-ups like I think he's like OCD, ADD or something. No, probably like OCD. Like he had like everything in a particular way in his house, and everything had to be a certain order in his room, like OCD kind of stuff. So like when we would come to do the set, the set, to go ahead and film a scene, we had this big camera and had all these switches on it. Now they taught me in class, which I forgot because I went to class a long time before I started renting equipment out. It'd been like almost a year. Went to the class. My original idea was I wanted to put music, videos on Austin Access rap videos and then just talk in between the videos with my homeboys. But that concept went out the window. So I waited a year and then I rented equipment out. Now in the class, they tell you to put the camera on this mode called easy mode. And it pretty much adjusts the camera lighting, the lenses, everything by itself. You don't have to manually adjust them. I forgot all that shit when I, wanted to film Homeboys a year later. So the first couple of scenes, I think if you watch the scene where I go over to my girlfriend's house and I'm looking at her friend's booty and she slaps me and all this shit, that scene was like one of our first scenes we shot. So if you look at the light on that scene, it's horrible, man. It's like super bright because we didn't have it in easy mode. We had it manually. So it wasn't adjusting to the light sensitivity with the camera. So this is where the fight happened. Okay. Now, before we found out about easy mode, Waylon used to come over and tinker around for, 30 minutes, 40 minutes with the switches on the camera to try to adjust the light sensitivity and the color and everything like that. He would just ask these questions. Like his whole focus, like I noticed some people that are like that. My focus is like getting the task done. Okay. That's when I put my time aside to do something, is to get shit done. But I know some people's focus when it's not the same as your focus. Some people's focus is to just fuck around and tinker with shit that's irrelevant to what you're trying to do at that moment. You're trying to get it done within the 30, 40 minutes. You're not trying to sit up here for, 3 or 4 hours, while you fuck around and then 4 hours later we film something. And I'm just saying that's just the way certain people are. Certain people are, I wouldn't even say, I'd say Waylon's kind of like my pops. My pops is like, he'll sit up there and focus on irrelevant shit, instead of the main shit. Like Waylon was with the camera, focusing on tinkering with the fucking switches for hours while we're trying to get this scene done quickly. My dad's the same way. Like, the other day I asked him, to help me move out the old washing machine, put in a new washing machine. I didn't ask them to fuck around and try to fix the old washing machine and tinker around with that shit for a couple hours. All I did was ask them to, help me pull out the old washing machine, put the new one in. Simple as that. 10-minute project, 20 at the tops. But no, he comes in the house and starts tinkering around with the old washing machine, taking it apart, trying to fix it, which I was going to take it to the dump anyways. It was broken, but apparently he didn't want to listen to me. Like, it's in one ear, out the other. Like, I'm a dumbass and he's smarter than me and he wants to see if it's really broken or not, and he doesn't take my word that it's broken. He thinks I'm a dumbass and I didn't push the switch right, or I didn't try to, like I said, before I even called him to come take the old washing machine out, I went through all the process, went on YouTube, looked at some videos, turned it on and off, did all kinds of shit with it. You know what I'm saying? It was broken. But he has to find out for himself. So he comes over and tinkers around with the old one, trying to fix it for like 3 hours. And then he gets pissed at me because he says, you owe me, like, you need to come help me at the house for 3 hours with my projects. I'm like, what? All I did was ask you to move the old one out and put the new one in. That's like 10 minutes of work. You see what I'm saying? So certain people just do shit like that. Their whole focus is not your focus. My focus is just to get shit done quickly and efficiently as possible, as fast as I can. That's my focus. There's a task that I'm going to do, and I want to get it done as quick as I can. Sometimes I'm so quick that people can't stay up with me. And sometimes I'm so quick, that's my problem. Sometimes I'm so quick at accomplishing a task that I skip over shit. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm moving so fast. And that's what helps when you're with somebody who can focus more slowly than you can and kind of like put things in perspective, other than your perspective. Because like I'm just like, get it done. So this is I'm going off back to what I was saying with Waylon. Waylon comes over, tinkering around with the damn camera for hour and a half. It's already hot, summertime. And Josh has already gone through this situation with Waylon at least twice before. It's not like he just did it one day. It's like he come to the set every day for like 3 or 4 weeks tinkering around with the camera, like getting switches a certain way. If you fuck with him, he'd get mad. He'd be like, hey man, I'm really trying to get this shit set up correctly. And, he would be like, no, we got to get the switches set up exactly on the camera how we had them last time. So he would sit up there for, waste all this time freaking with this camera. So one day, Josh, I talked to him, in the car, and he's like, man, if he comes to the set today doing that bullshit, man, I swear to God, we going to have some problems. I said, man, just chill out. And he's like, nah, man, I'm tired of that shit, man. I'm tired of sitting around for a whole hour while he messing around with this camera, and we can just get the scene done. It's already hot outside. We outside. It's hot. I'm sweating. I'm not dealing with this shit today. Me and Waylon gonna have some words. And so I was like, well, okay, I'm out of it. I tried to tell Josh to chill out. He wouldn't chill out. So then when Waylon do the same shit, pulls the camera out, starts tinkering around with the shit, and that's when Josh just goes off. He just starts yelling and shit, and then they get into it, and they almost start fighting. And Waylon's like, I don't know what his fucking problem is. I'm just trying to get this camera working right, this and that. And I was like, well, Waylon, you've been doing this shit for like the last 4 or 5 scenes. You know what I'm saying? It's just like nobody wants to wait around while you tinker around with shit. We just need to get the scene done, get it over with. So I got to the point where on that film, like I'd already quit before we even finished that film. The film almost took it's a horrible film. It almost took like 2 or 3 years to make because I quit a couple of times just dealing with that bullshit. Just dealing with Waylon and the way he works on things and the way he tinkers with shit and the way, we don't get shit done. And it got to the point where it's like I was renting out the equipment and, and we were not even filming scenes we want to get done, and people weren't memorizing the script. People weren't doing what they're supposed to. And it's all because you work with friends. That's the main concept you take with me. Don't work with friends. And if you're writing or working, don't work out at your house. Go somewhere else. because working at your house, you want your house to be a place where you relax. You don't want to associate work with your house. So take those two concepts with this podcast. Don't work with friends. Don't work out your house. Damn, I'm already 25 minutes and I haven't even done local news. Okay, well, let's just do this podcast like this. A little different one. Hip hop. DJ Paul just dropped the album. I haven't listened to it yet. I've been listening to a lot of new mixtapes. I listened to Hood Rich Juan Pablo. Blow the movie mixtape. It's pretty good. He's got kind of sounds like he talks like this when he raps. And I'm on me. And gonna go get my drugs. And I'm going to sell on the block. Yeah. This is Hood Rich Juan Pablo. This is how I rap. And listen to me rap. So it's kind of like that's the way his style is. It's a little bit like Starlito. If you heard Starlito, well, Starlito's kind of like kind of even worse. You know, I don't know how to do it. I can't imitate him too much, but it's a good album. It's got some good tracks on there. If you like listening to Hood Rich Juan Pablo, it's pretty good. But it's a mixtape. I haven't got the new DJ Paul. I just got Logic today. And that dropped out like, I think May 10th or something like that. May 9th or something. Logic. I'm going to check it out. I haven't checked it out. I just, got it today. So I'll let you know probably on the next podcast if it's any good. Local news. Forget ATX. No local news. Kiss my ass. Hold on a second, man. Let's see what's going on in ATX real quick. Okay. Let me see. For y'all bitches out there, today is May 10th, 2019. We're 64 degrees. We had like a little cold front coming. It's kind of crazy because it's already May 10th and it was cold outside this morning. Okay, police arrest 2 men in connection with North Austin hotel shooting. Well, man. Damn.
This morning, Austin police are searching for 4 people after a man was found dead in a North.
Okay, you heard that. Getting wild out there. People getting capped. And Austin's still, small town. Like, you go to like one of these big cities, like up in California, like Los Angeles, and you're hearing like they can't even put all the stuff on the news, all the homicides and robberies going on, and it's like, man, they can't even put Austin. We got maybe one thing pop off, like one person gets shot, once every couple weeks. I don't even know, a murder rate wasn't that high last year. It was only like 300 or something people got killed here or something like that. So it's not like really super crime capital or anything. Well, I'm closing in on my 30 minutes, and I'm sure if anybody's listening to the podcast, they're pretty much tired of hearing me babble on and on and on and on. So let's go over what we talked about in this podcast. We started off with the Homeboys film. Don't hire your friends. Don't work with your friends because they won't memorize your script because they think they're smarter than you, obviously, and you're a dumbass. The book concepts, like I said, also like, if I feel like people are copying my work or, biting my work, sometimes I just stop working until I know I'm going to get a deal, get like published by somebody who's a serious publisher. So that way I don't have to worry about, I put out a concept and then 5 years later, somebody else put out the same concept. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm thinking about doing. And you think I'm tripping about this shit, but I put out a song called Bitch You Gotta Go. People be copying. People, a person copied that song. A person got a copy of my CD where I produced the whole song and then went to an open mic session here in Austin, Texas, and performed the song word for word and said it was his song. He almost got his ass beat the fuck up after he got off the stage. That's not a karaoke jam. How would you like it if you went in somebody's, open mic session and you did a song and then the person performing your song and you're like, is this a joke? Is this funny or something? Because, that's your song. You wrote every word for that song. And apparently he told me his excuse was his life was boring and he can't come up with any rap songs himself because he didn't have anything exciting going on in his life. And he got a copy of my CD, heard my song, and thought it was a good rap song for him to do. Granted, he got on stage and didn't give me any recognition. Like, this is not my song. This is the other guy's song, and I'm doing it, and I'm just showing love. None of that shit. Okay? So, if you think I'm tripping, man, I got witnesses for that, too. So, I'm telling you, past 30 minutes. About to close this out. I'm telling you, people copy me. So, I'm starting to get to a point where I'm cutting off all my creativity till I get famous. I'm not doing it no more because I'm tired of people copying my shit. Copy my shit. Homeboys film. Don't hire your homeboys doing film. The story about Waylon and his little quirks and my pops. Y'all listen to the podcast. I'll tune in next week. I'll hit y'all up. DJ Treylow podcast. Hit me up, djtreylow@gmail.com. YouTube is dmyers45. If you want to sit up there and look at my click on a playlist on dmyers45. I'm telling you, I got over 900 videos on that shit. And like I said, my books, The Rectangulars by Mr. David Patrick Myers on Amazon. If you put in Mr. MR period David Patrick Myers, you'll bring up The Rectangulars, the Pavilion Vortex. The Pavilion Vortex is actually a Kindle version. The Rectangulars is paperback. Both of them are only $5. Don't cost you shit. You know what I'm saying? Or you can go down to 6 and Lamar. Book People, horror section, top left corner. You'll find The Rectangulars by David Myers. At the top left corner, be next to the magazine rack. You got to look for it because it's really small. And that, I'm not a famous author, self-published. I don't have a literary agent. Literary agent, if you hear this podcast, please get at me. I need a literary agent to get my shit edited correctly and put into a major market. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just struggling author. But I'm not putting out any more books now because I don't want people copying my concepts. Show hate it. No, I'm going to put out some more books for y'all. I'm just kidding. Just know there's haters out there that are going to copy you, twist it around, make it seem like it's theirs, but you came up with the original. And in the end, you'll get recognition because they don't have a whole lot to go off of. They just have that one concept. All right, bye.